Hey everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Matchbook Mysteries, where I put the meh in Filumini. So, thanks for joining me, and this web series is going to be a little different than Smart and Vinyl. I mean, first off, obviously, no records, and second, different pajamas. Anyways, let's just get into it and get to the good stuff. So, I have a match cover. I have lots of match covers, but I have one in particular that I've, found in my collection. I've been loving, and I don't know where it is. So when I do, come across that, I put it on Facebook before I start my real research, because usually when I put a match cover on Facebook that I don't know the location, someone pipes in with, "Oh, I used to work there," or "Oh, my mom used to take us there." I like that. I like that personal touch, personal experience, story aspect to research. So I put it on there. Nothing. Like, some people, we threw around some guesses, but no one can figure out where this location was. So I'm like, okay, gotta get balls deep into the research. And I did. So let's just get into it. So I'll post a picture of the match cover so you can see it in better. But here it is. Okay. And hopefully it'll zoom in okay. It is the Telefair, the Pacific Telephone Telefair, right? But this is the real spectacular part. Let me see if I can get it. So it took place in a parking lot with a Broadway department store and maybe a Crest, because you get a little KR right there. So I'm like, where was this Telefair at? So I started my research. First, I looked up Telefair. I couldn't find a whole lot about Telefair. I did find out that it was usually held in a shopping center between 1965 and 1969. Now, of course, that doesn't mean it wasn't before then or after then. That's just what I can find. But looking at that match cover, that's about right. Then I went ahead and looked where I can find where they did have Telefairs. So some of the locations I found where they did have a Telefair was Century City Mall, Bullock's Fashion Square in Sherman Oaks, Valley Plaza in North Hollywood, Horner Plaza in Santa Ana, and the Arcadia Hub Shopping Center. Now, they had them in other locations. That's just a few. So then I went through, and the only two that had a Broadway was Century City and Bullock's Fashion Square. Well, I checked off Bullock's Fashion Square because their Broadway didn't come in time. It was added later. But Century City did have a brand new, actually, Broadway in that time span of Telefair. And there was the newest high-tech, location for Pacific Telephone was built there, brand new, at Century City. So I'm like, oh, that'd be perfect to showcase their new office, their stuff. And that's what Telefair was. I forgot to get into that. Telefair was just so the public can come check out what, the new technology that Pacific Telephone had. They were allowed to make free long distance phone calls. Just a good community kind of, hey, we're the phone company kind of thing. So that's Telefair. So I looked though, and I'm like, that Broadway at Century City doesn't look like this Broadway. That mall shopping center doesn't look like this mall. So I'm like, I don't think it's Century City, but maybe, right? So then I'm like, well, now let me look at Broadway. So I started looking at different Broadway locations in Southern California, and they're all a little different. Like, some locations like Crenshaw or Pasadena or even Riverside were really unique with their styling. Others, usually they would do like 2 or 3 in the same style and then switch up styles. So I started looking at that, and I would compare it to the Broadway in the Matchbook. And the Broadways that I found that looked similar to this were Montclair Plaza, Huntington Center, Inland Center Mall, Downey Stonewood. Well, I crossed off Huntington Center right away because that actually was my local mall growing up, and I knew they didn't have a shopping center, especially with a Crest. I'm fairly familiar with Inland Center and Montclair Plaza. They did not have that kind of a shopping center. So that left Downey Stonewood, right? Now, look at Downey Stonewood. That looks pretty right on as this. They had the parking lot that went right up to the stores. They had that low slung kind of mall shopping center that extended out from the Broadway. But look, it's W.T. Grant. It's not Crest. So I'm like, dude. So I'm like, okay, maybe it changed. Maybe it was the wrong side, whatever. So Downey Stonewood was my number one guess, like, for all of last night. Did some more research, and I'm looking, and I'm like, maybe I got to get out of Southern California. I go, because there was Broadways all up and down the state. in Oregon, Nevada, Arizona. Let me look somewhere else, right? So I started looking up other shopping malls, other Broadways. So I get to the San Diego area, and I'm at the Chula Vista Shopping Center looking, and I'm like, they do have a Broadway. I go, but, and now here's the kicker in it all. They didn't have a Crest, but they had an SS Kresge. So sure enough, and I hope I'm saying that right. Anyways, it looks like it should be Kresge. So sure enough, boom, 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 ding, 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 ding. I looked up all the pictures. This match cover, this Broadway is Chula Vista Shopping Center, Chula Vista, California. And I looked it up. The shopping center was built in 1960. And what threw me originally when I was doing my Broadway research was this Broadway was originally a Marston's, and it was built as a Marston's. That was a local department chain in San Diego. It became a Broadway in 1964. So I think that's why it didn't originally show up in my Broadway research. But here you go. Now, here's some pictures of it. This is when it was still a Marston's, before it was a Broadway. But if you look, it's totally the same picture. Totally the same picture. So I'm super excited, that I found it. And Chula Vista did have Telefairs. They had two. One in 1965 and one in 1969. So, all right, Chula Vista, you won. Well, no, I won because I found it amazingly. So, I was really excited about that. And mystery solved. Matchbook mystery solved. Because if you look at it, it just doesn't tell me where it's at. And really, that could have been any Southern California style mall, Broadway, around. Some things I did look for was font. And I know you're thinking like, oh, the Broadways all had the same font. You think they did, but they really didn't. I mean, you got to go back and look. The earlier ones had more of like a skinny, font. Usually like those late 60s, I would say like 65 to like 70-ish, had that classic Broadway font that we're all thinking of, that we're remembering, that this had. One store, and I'll post a picture, or if you want to look it up on your own, the one in Ventura at the Buenaventura Plaza, that was built in 1963. It looks very similar to this one with the font and the style and everything. This building is still there. It's a Macy's if you want to go check it out, if you just happen to be in Chula Vista. But anyways, so that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll bring another mystery to you soon, and hopefully you can help me solve it. So from me to you, and from the Broadway to you, see you soon on Matchbook Mysteries. Thanks.